So I was having fun on Twitter, and what should happen but Sye Ten Bruggencate tweeted to me. I guess that means I've arrived or something. And if you've not had the misfortune of encountering Sye Ten Bruggencate, then understand he is a presuppositional apologist for Christianity. And I wouldn't call him competent. He mainly tries to derail arguments by saying such things as, if you use reason, you can't justify it without his particular God, and if you try to use reason but are not a Christian, you are abandoning your worldview. And if he can't think of anything else to say, he asks people, how do you know that, rather than making a legitimate response. It started out innocently enough when someone who had been on a podcast with Sye Ten Bruggencate posted this. I spent much longer debating/conversing with Sye than Matt did, but Matt did a damn good job of showing the audience how real logic destroys Sye's invalid arguments. I replied, I haven't conversed with Sye, but I have taken to hitting back at Presup by saying that Yahweh plagiarized the laws of logic/truth/reason from Krusty Jism, the magic sperm whale, who revealed this in a way that only Atheist can know with certainty it is true. And by the way, that is a parody of what Sye Ten Bruggencate says. When lo and behold, Sye responded to me. And I will let my computer-generated voice read Sye Ten Bruggencate's comments because they are fairly robotic anyway.
Well, at very least you recognize that you cannot justify logic/truth/reason without positing a source for them which is contradictory to atheism.
To which I responded, Krusty Jism is not a god. He is a magic sperm whale. By plagiarizing from Krusty Jism, Yahweh can pretend to be a god. Then Sye responded,
if you want to claim a magic sperm whale as justification for logic/truth/reason according to your atheistic worldview, please speak into the microphone.
How do you know I claimed anything about Krusty Jism, the magic sperm whale? Only by plagiarizing from Krusty Jism can you speak of him. For some reason he never responded. So let's jump to another branch in this thread. B#C says, the source of logic is a combination of observations of specific consistencies in the interaction of physical phenomena and the human mind. Assuming more isn't warranted. To which I responded, Sye Ten doesn't deal with realities such as how learning and logic actually work. He prefers Quisquelian taradiddle, which he uses to simulate having conversation. And by the way, those obscure words I used are just a fancy way of saying pretentious bullshit. Sye Ten Bruggencate responded,
how ironic.
How do you know it is ironic?
Smiling face with open mouth and smiling eyes, emoji.
I responded, how do you know you used an emoji? And yes, I had a typo.
Stuck out tongue and tightly closed eyes, emoji.
One can tell that Sye is a computer program because humans engage in conversations, whereas Sye merely runs through a pre-prepared algorithm. Sadly, the Sye Ten B app isn't as sophisticated as Siri.
Your magic sperm whale tell you that, Mr. Atheist?
You told me that. Once again, Sye didn't respond. I can only suppose it was because I was throwing him off his standard script. So let's jump to yet another branch in the conversation. Answers in Rock says, how old is the Earth?
Whatever Bible say. Sick.
B#C said, what does the Bible say, Sye? No one seems to have a consistent answer for that.
There are only slight variations in getting a date based on the genealogies in Scripture.
Answers in Rocks says, do you believe the story of Noah's Ark is documented history, meaning an actual event, a worldwide flood destroying all animals and growing plants? Do you believe this? 3 hours, 10 minutes, free of Sye Ten B pass. Answers in Rock says, Sye, no reply, typical. Christopher Magnadal tweeted, it's all fun and games when he can keep the ball in the you have to assume God exists to even have reason and logic square. But answering the real questions, silence. To which I responded, Real questions put Sye's logic out. Christopher responded, based on this thread, it would seem that the whole logic is to ask stupid questions until someone answers with something he can use as a gotcha. God surely works in mysterious ways if that is the method you need to use to prove him. I responded, yep, that's why I turned the tables on Sye by claiming that Yahweh plagiarized logic/truth/reason. I finally got the silence treatment. And then Sye Ten returned, and note he never answered the thing about Noah.
Yes, you abandoned your worldview in order to try to justify it. Good move.
I have not disclosed my worldview. I am pointing out the absurdity of your inane drivel that you so quaintly and robotically revel in.
Yeah, okay, so your worldview is not disclosed in your very appropriate name. Got it.
Comedy is my worldview? No, more sort of a hobby. For some strange reason, Sye didn't respond. So let us jump back to where the thread branched.
Yes, you abandoned your worldview in order to try to justify it. Good move.
How is using a reductio ad absurdum abandoning his worldview?
There was no reductio. He posited the magic sperm whale as his justification, thereby abandoning his atheism.
The magic sperm whale is the reductio. He reduced your belief in a god to the ridiculous to get the point across that without justification it is impossible to believe. That he used an unusual form doesn't make it less effective.
Positing something contrary to your worldview as a justification for rationality is in no way a reductio.
I have not disclosed my worldview. I am pointing out the absurdity of your inane drivel that you so quaintly and robotically revel in.
You think atheism is a worldview? The only thing common among atheists is a demand for evidence for the claims of God's existence. Some even believe in the spiritual realm.
A commonality is the assumption that logic, knowledge, truth, rationality can be justified without God.
And we are back to Sye Ten's fabulism and conversation simulation algorithm. Wow, that was a few entire sentences of something almost, but not quite, very approximately approaching dialogue. Good thing you nipped that in the bud. Sye never made a direct response to that tweet. Atheist said, Sye, how many times do you have to be told that atheism is not a worldview?
I don't call atheism a worldview. I was referring to the person's particular atheistic worldview.
Again, I have not disclosed my worldview. Several others joined in, with Sye totally failing to realize he was getting his ass handed to him. After much ado, we got to this. Matthias Meridius, sorry for any mispronunciation, said, A logical contradiction requires an observer, as logic is a tool of perception. No humans, no perceptions. No logic, no logical contradictions.
So prior to humans perceiving the universe, it could have both existed and not existed at the same time and in the same way?
B#C said, That's not what anyone said. You are still conflating the source and the label. I responded, Sye refuses to acknowledge what a reification fallacy is because his house of cards depends upon it. When faced with it, he will retreat to his usual, how do you know that? Or else will claim we cannot account for use of reason/logic. And then, Sye Ten Bruggencate, that juggernaut of logic, that virtuoso of grandiloquence, spake no more.